Barrett Sallee, I hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome into the game in T-Town.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Barrett, I feel like we're getting close to maybe establishing a little bit of sports, right? I mean, we're talking about it at least.
We are talking about it, and that is it's good news. It's light at the end of the tunnel. It seems like a lot of these states understand more about the risks of how sporting events could hurt or help. The spread. I think, to me, it's as clear as day. We should get back to normal. And unfortunately, I'm not making decisions for every state, but it does seem to me right now that we're on the right track. I don't know if you just saw, but California and New York said that they could have pro sports without fans starting June 1st. So, we're going toward it. And as much as I hate to think that the country revolves around California and the state of New York, those two states saying that they can have pro sports on June 1st, I think will definitely accelerate this process to a point where the public understands that this is changing and we're getting going with our lives.
Barrett, give me a report there in your state. Have you been out to a restaurant? Have you been out and about? I mean, what's it like?
Oh yeah, it's totally it's normal, as normal as you can possibly be. It's crazy to think this, but Ryan, adults are capable of making adult decisions.
Yes,
and here it is. When you see adults making adult decisions, you obviously have to be smart. You have to be considerate. People are doing that everywhere I go. So it's pretty normal. There's a little change, obviously, if you're going to somewhere where you're going to be around a lot of people. You put a mask on. I see a lot of people not wearing masks and they're staying socially distant, and you just be mindful of other people. I don't really see how or why that is. Some people making decisions in our government don't understand that people are actually capable of doing that on their own.
So Barrett, as we get, and you're our barometer because you're maybe the one staple as far as a normal guest that we feature at the normal time slot every week, 3:30 on Monday. Your barometer has it upticked a little bit? I mean, you feel pretty let me just summarize this: USC, Alabama, 110 days away. I'm feeling different about that, even since I went on the air reading stuff out of California. 110 days away. Will that game happen?
Oh, gosh. 110 days away.
110 days away.
I'm kind of with you. Oh man, that sounds so good to hear. I'm with you. Like my attitude has changed over the last few hours.
So have I.
I think it will. I think it will.
And I've got stake bets. We have callers who are not maybe as optimistic as I am. Either I'm going to be buying a lot of steaks or I'm going to be getting steaks. And I've got several.
What kind of steaks are we talking about?
Well, no.
I'll make wagers with you on all kinds of stuff if we're talking about good steaks.
No. Quality. Okay. Yeah. Ribeyes from a couple of different.
Ribeyes.
Yeah. Right. I mean, the minimum 16 ounce. Yeah, you can't go anything less than that.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. No, I mean, I've gotten happier, more confident the last few hours, just like you, and I think still that they're not going to have fans, which to me, I understand why you would do that. Like, I understand why you have to protect people, but if you're at an extremely minimal risk of getting it by going to a stadium as we normally used to do, why can't you just put a disclaimer on the back of the ticket like you do for everything else? Because doing the math in my county, Cobb County, Georgia, which is by Georgia standards pretty high on the infection level. For every 100,000 people, you have a 0.005% chance of getting it. So you're talking about Bryant-Denny Stadium, okay, roughly. 0.005% of people in that stadium would get it. Like that's like a fingernail.
Yeah, I'll take those odds. I drive in Tuscaloosa on McFarland Boulevard. I bet the chances of survival rates even less than that. Listen, it's you take chances in life. There's risk with everything we do.
Yeah, no, there is, and that's the thing is, if you're not going to have fans, I mean, okay, I understand sort of like a soft opening, of a restaurant, or a business where you have like a few people come in and, you kind of progressively, get, up to speed and ramp up. I understand, if that's the thought process behind this, I don't understand why it would be the thought process because I don't have that. But if people are being ultra cautious and buying into a lot of the misinformation out there, okay, that's going to, if it gets things back to normal in a quicker fashion, then I'm okay with it. I don't think you need to do it, but if that's what's needed to get things moving, then okay,
So Barrett, when you look at the financial side of this, and I'm going to the protection, the liability, let me ask you from a hesitation of a player standpoint. You think we're going to see some players be pretty hesitant about that? Or, I mean, you remember when we were 18, 19, 20, and we were not athletes like these guys are, but we were pretty, 6 foot tall and bulletproof, right? I mean, we walked around this thing, nothing could do. I mean, think about it. I mean, we took chances then that I know I don't take now. I can imagine that if you're an athlete, you're probably
dumb, and I know you were too.
No, I did stuff like that. I asked myself, man, why in the world would you do that? And I know why my mother worried.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think when you look at the players and what they're going to do, I think you're going to see individuals be hesitant. Again, from a liability standpoint, you do it like everybody else does for every other year. You have a waiver you have to sign that states you're not going to sue the university based on things that happen. I would imagine you just put that language in there about COVID, and if a player signs it, then they agree to that. If they don't, then they can't play, or it's up to the school to determine if it's worth risking it. So, I think it goes back to something I said earlier. We're adults. We make adult decisions. Even college students are adults. They can go to war and fight for our country. They're capable of
Barrett, I don't know if I'd stretch that, man. I don't know if I'd stretch that. Are they really adults?
Okay. I don't have the mindset of an adult now.
Okay.
So, okay. So in theory, legally, they're adults.
Okay. There you go. I'll go with you there. So Barrett, when we asked the question today for our listeners, we were asking the question because it's really, it's about them with going inside of a stadium. I don't think the college model can survive without fans. Can it?
I think it could. It would be diminished big time. You saw NASCAR yesterday. You don't really need fans for NASCAR. I mean, I didn't realize until watching that I never even noticed if fans were there or not. College football, you would. And so that part would be diminished. But I think from a financial standpoint, you don't necessarily need it. Obviously ticket sales help and donations help and all that other stuff. And, that is a big reason why you see all these big buildings getting put up and these exorbitant salaries and all that. I still think you can operate. You would have less of that though, because you still get the TV contracts. As great as ticket sales are, having that TV contract is more important in terms of a financial stability standpoint. And I think if you don't have fans or you limit the number of fans at any given stadium, then that TV contract actually goes up in terms of value because you're basically playing and operating a made-for-TV event, more so than you have in the past. So I don't necessarily think from a financial standpoint you need it because different factors would be at play if you did limit the number of fans. But, I do think it would certainly change some things, especially short term.
I'm kind of like you. My confidence is growing that this thing, and maybe we'll look back at NASCAR and say they were the first one that took the criticism. Because I know they took a lot. People, I cannot believe that you're actually talking about coming back into some type of sporting venue and actually doing sports. So maybe we'll look back and be very appreciative of NASCAR being the first to take that criticism, but kind of get the ball rolling down the hill.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? And Supercross is second, May 31st, 7 races. Not that anybody else cares, but I do.
No, I like that. It's just a dangerous sport, man. It's not good for the body, right? I mean, we're talking about liability. I mean,
visual and living proof that is accurate.
Yeah, I had a neighbor that had one of those Supercross. I mean, we're talking about in the country. He actually had a course in his backyard, and I watched a lot of people get hurt.
I did too, man.
I mean, it was
too. Lots of head injuries, lots of knee injuries.
Yeah, I mean, think about the shock that body takes when you take what were you, a 125, 250 guy, 125, 250?
I never owned a 2-stroke 250. I did own a 2-stroke 125, and I've been lobbying for a 4-stroke 250 with the wife, and that's not going so well. But I'm at least trying. The battle that I haven't won yet, but I haven't waved the white flag yet either.
But I mean, the shock that it takes, the absorption that your body takes, there's only so much that machine can take off of the stress of landing from 25, 30 feet in the air.
That is true. My knees are barking at me all the time to prove that.